This video I will explain a little bit what happens with the parameter that we just inserted during the design phase. So I will show you how these parameters are used to create the specification of each room of the facility. And in the next video I will do the same explanation for the human resources. So, as you remember, in the previous set of video, we ended up designing our small outpatient health facility. Just to give you a better understanding, if we move to the third page of the second step of PASS, you see that we already have ready most of the results. In this first chart, you see, for example, that the surface of each department has been computed. For example, here you click and you see that this small table is popping up, and you see the breakdown of area of each department, the number of rooms foreseen in each department that correspond to the number of rooms that, of course, we select according to the setup, and some statistic. In this case, the number is 0 because these statistics that is reporting the square meter per bed is what I want to show you here is basically how PASS arrives to such a result. So to do that, I will close the full screen view. I will move to the sheet 1.1. In this sheet, you see that there is a bigger table with all the rooms that are, for the moment, part of the database of PASS. We already saw some of these characteristics, but we will go through all of them right now. So, for example, let's go in our patient department. Maybe I will filter the others so that it's easier to read. And let's pick a room, let's say the consultation room, for example, this one. And you see that the row is basically a list of features. Cells are features that have to be inserted by the user. These features are the name of the room, the department where the room is assigned. Then we already saw that you have to specify with a yes or no if the room belongs to one of the three setup that defines the level of configuration of your service. Then we also already described the hierarchy, a conventional way to report the room in the list. Then there is this column that is the type. You see that for each of this title there is a comment explaining you what are the codes and what actually is happening in this column. In this case, the type is simply describing the rooms in terms of typology, and you have 5 possible choices. 0, it means that the space of the room is fixed, it's not dependent on any parameters. On the contrary, it means that the size of the room will depend on the number of beds that the user will insert. 2 is a room that is dependent on the number of users that the user is inserting, as we saw in the previous video. Number 3 is for the special user dependent, and 4 and 5 are code to describe toilet and shower. Then this white cell is a cell that is automatically filled by PASS according, in this case, to the selection of the user. So when you select, for example, outpatient level 1, you will see a 1 popping up here. Instead, for example, if you decide that you want a level 3, configuration 3, the advanced setup, you will see a 3, a number 3 in this cell. This cell is a formula, and basically it's a support counter telling to PASS, confirming to PASS if the specific room is part of the selection or no. So there is a yes or no that it's popping up. You don't have to do anything in the white cell, just leave them like they are. Here you have the bed number, the user, and the special design and the special user. Here they are called design parameter, that are just this cell are storing the input that you provide in the design phase by means of the user form. Then we move to this part, again a yellow part of the table. And once again here it's require an input of the advanced user. Basically you have to define what are the default parameters of each room. In this case, in this column you have the information about the minimum floor. This means that each room has by default a minimum floor area, which means that the room can't be smaller than that number. Then we will see if the room, as we saw, is a room that is depending, its size is depending on the number of beds. To this bare minimum, it will be added a surface enough to accommodate all the beds that we want in that specific room. If instead the room is a fixed space, that will be its final size, its final floor plan. So, for example, in this case, consultation room is as a code here, number 2. What does it mean? To uncover, to understand what this 2 is in terms of square meter, you have to go into page 2.5. There is here a set of architectonic parameter, and you see that you have one of these table that is called minimum floor area, and this is exactly what we want. It's describing the minimum size of the room. And you see here that you have a list up to eventually 10 codes, 10 insertions. As you remember, the consultation room, the one we are looking at, had a code of number 2, which you read 2 here, and you look up in the yellow column, and you see that that code corresponds to 9 square meter, which let's say by default has been it's a size that has been attributed to a middle space where you have the presence of staff and or patient. So we saw that all these parameters, all these numbers in this column are basically codes. Those codes refers to a physical indication that it's reported in one of these table in the fourth step of the second part of the fourth page of the second part of PASS. So, for example, let's check another one. You see this one is the soil room. It's the code is number 6. So if you go here, you see that code number 6 corresponds to soil room, and it's only 3 square meters. One note: it's not really relevant. It's a little bit annoying, but there is a known mistake here in the name of the worksheet. Despite this is the page 4 of the second step of PASS, the code here of the worksheet is 2.5. It's a mistake. It's too hard to correct right now, so just leave it like this, and be aware that the fourth page, the fourth step of the second moment of PASS, it's stored in 2.5, and the third is stored in 2.4. It's a mistake. Just accept it. So let's go back to something more relevant. We were checking the consultation room. Okay. We see that we have a code for the minimum floor that corresponds to 2. Then we have a code here that it's 1. This is in case of when the room is depending of an extra bed. This means that there should be a correspondency between the selection here of the type and this cell. So, for example, here it's correct that you see 1, because as we saw here, 1 corresponds to a room that is bed dependent. So in this column you store the coefficient of the space that you have to add to each extra bed. So there is again a table that you can find here. Okay, it's the second one, extra bed, and we saw that the code was 1. It's a regular word bed, so you have here code and the value here that correspond to 7 square meter per extra bed. So you basically now you are telling PASS that look, the room is depending on the bed. Correctly, the user has inserted the required number of beds in this room. So PASS will compute the size of the room according to the minimum size, which is enough to host 1 bed, plus the number of beds that you want minus 1, because it's already counted, and that number is multiplied by the factor of, in this case, the extra space per each bed. And we will see where this result is stored. In this cell now it's empty, because here it's stored the information of the space, the area that you have to add in case the room is dependent on the user. Of course, one room can't be dependent on more than one parameter. It has to be a bed or a user or a special user. So, for example, here you see that this is the staff room, and as we saw, is depending on the number of staff that you want to place there. And we correctly, actually it was this one, the administration, and we correctly inserted the user number. This is the special user. So, for example, in our case, we design the the laboratory according to the special user. And you see that here there is correctly, it's in this case the main laboratory in the laboratory department as a code, as a type 3 that correspond to special user dependent, as you can see in the legend, and the extra space to every extra user is stored here. It's 1, and you can find it here, specific functional spaces in this table, code 1, and it's 2.6 square meter per person. So, what can we say more? For example, we can already say that if you want to change the default value here, if you say that no, for me the extra bed in a ward has to be 6 meter per bed, this modification will be applied to every room that has a code for extra bed number 1. So modifying this parameter, you modify all the rooms that have that code. If you want instead to modify the single room, you have to change the parameter here in this table. So basically, this table is really the depository, the database with all the characteristics that you want to attribute to the single room. Room capacity. The room capacity is a specific features that, as I said, is applied only in a few spaces. I'm looking for inpatient. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, I remember correctly. And you see that you have, in certain cases, a code that is specified for the room capacity. Basically, they are all rooms, functional spaces where you have any beds, clinical beds. Meaning that you are telling PASS that, look, I want up to a certain number of beds in that room, because otherwise the nurse can't really supervise the patient, or for whatever any other reason that you want to keep a maximum size of the room. So once again, this code has to be coherent with the choice of a typology 1 for the room, and the provision of a code for an extra bed, and finally, if it's the case, also the information about a maximum limit, a maximum threshold of bed in a single room. If your insertion of number of bed is greater than that maximum limit, PASS will split the functional space in 2 or 3, whatever is required, and it will count the space for every single room, starting again from the minimum floor plus the bed. Minimum floor plus the bed. One question might be, where do I find the code that is telling me where I have to look for the parameters? You see again here in the title, in the comments, if you read it, there is an explanation, and then you see that there is mention category code in range name room capacity. This is the definition of range name room capacity. So each of these tables has a title here, an explanation, and a technical information that is the range name, and in this case is room capacity, and you will find it here. What else? I will go through this first step, this first table. So we saw capacity, and then we have a set of description of the finishing attached to the single room. I will keep this impatient. It's the same for all of them. So here you have the characteristic of the floor, the characteristic, of the wall, of the doors, and the windows. So exactly with the same principle, the code here, the number here, is a code that is representing a specific feature that it's reported in the fourth page of PASS. So for example, let's have a look. Windows and code number 2 is corresponding to, you have to go in the family finishing, and you go in Windows, and number 2 is a double casement window with a specific size that it's again provided by default, and it means that in that specific room that I don't remember which was that, in the admission room, you want to have that typology and that size of window. Of course, all these parameters can be changed, and to do so, you have to do it from here. Then we have this code that maybe I will zoom in a bit, because I know, sorry, the opposite. Let's try another 50. Oh, well, better. So here we have the plugs, which is telling how many plugs you have, power plugs you have to put in the specific room. If you want, we can have a look here. It's a new family, it's networks, and you see in a moment, here we go, that plugs are according, they can be depending on the number of bed or depending on the number of room. So you have to be aware of, because then the computational routines will take either the number of bed or the number of room to calculate the final number of plugs. So it's always a little bit tricky. You have to check all the lines. I will show you in a minute, maybe in a couple of minutes. Then here we have the number of hand washing points. Again, there is a code here that's reporting the hand washing point density. In this case, is dependent on the bed. So always look at this table and look. It's very important to look at the unit of measure, because you know how this code is going to be used. So it's going to be multiplied by the number of bed. And then we have the window to floor area ratio. Here, to model the natural lighting in each room, it is attributed to each room a specific ratio of surface of windows compared to the surface of the floor. So you can check here. Voila, it's this code here. So you have three possible values. Basically, you have a percentage of glazing area compared to the floor area. The smaller one is 10%, which is supposed to be chosen either if you don't really care to have a proper illumination, like in a service room, or if instead you are building your facility in a very hot climate, so there is a lot of light outside and you want to keep a shadow for the comfort of the users. In other cases, you might want to increase the glazing area, so therefore the surface that's providing light, and you can increase that ratio. It's completely up to the design. So you provide this this parameter. You have already provided the typology and the dimension of window, and PASS is calculating therefore the glazing area, which means the nominal glazing surface for the specific room. Then there is another column that it's only for to categorize the number of bed, and it's basically this column that is telling to PASS what typology of bed you have in that specific room. So if there is no bed, if there is, it's an examination table, it's a clinical bed, or a maternity bed. You saw that this categorization is used, for example, in the human resource user form. That was a long video, and I think it's better to stop here, and in the next one I will show you the rest of this page.